The early hours of April 4th, 1979, greeted Sverdlovsk with its usual silence. The city was gradually waking up from its sleep. The local residents went about their usual daily routines, completely unaware that a silent but deadly threat was already looming ominously over their heads. Soon, ambulance dispatchers began to receive a growing number of reports about strange incidents on the southern outskirts. People were losing consciousness en masse, complaining of severe coughing and vomiting. Body temperatures were rapidly rising to 40 degrees, and the condition of the patients was quickly deteriorating. The medical staff still did not realize what they were dealing with. Only later did it become clear that the city was struck by one of the most terrifying epidemics, a sudden outbreak of anthrax.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. Your support helps the channel grow and motivates me to create even more amazing videos for you.
According to official data, the number of fatalities reached 64 people. However, some researchers point to different figures, no fewer than 100 deaths. Despite a prolonged information campaign supporting the version that contaminated meat was the source of the infection, many eyewitnesses and experts insisted otherwise. They were convinced that the cause of the disaster was the accidental release of anthrax spores into the atmosphere, which occurred as a result of an accident at a military laboratory located in Military Town No. 19 in the Chkalovsky district of Sverdlovsk, and was part of a top-secret facility engaged in the development and production of biological weapons. Although this activity is prohibited by an international convention, which the Soviet Union officially joined only in 1972. Traces of infection can be found in numerous medical reports. One such case, a young man who, despite feeling unwell, set out in the morning to look for work. He became ill right on the tram. It was already too late to help. Another man who was sick was having tests done at the clinic, and right in the doctor's office, his condition rapidly deteriorated. He could not be saved. Yet another case. A married couple was getting ready to leave by car. The man went to the garage, but never came back. His wife found him dead by the open door. There was no chance left to help him. The sick were literally being picked up right on the streets. At first, they were taken to the 24th hospital, but the beds there quickly ran out. Then it was decided to redirect the flow of patients to the 20th hospital, which became the next stronghold in the fight for life. In the 20th hospital, where the sick were brought, there was an atmosphere of confusion and fear. One of the doctors recalled that at first patients were diagnosed with pneumonia, but it quickly became clear this was something much worse. Patients were dying even while on mechanical ventilation and despite strong doses of antibiotics. Medicine was powerless. The scenes in the wards were horrific. The living and the dead lay side by side. People were as afraid of the corpses as they were of fire. Relatives were refusing en masse to claim the bodies. The dead were carried out in exchange for a bottle of alcohol or a symbolic 5 rubles. This was the price for silence, for bravery, or for contempt for death. The medical staff working in the ward made a difficult decision not to return home. They set up sleeping places for themselves right in the hospital and began waiting for the first signs of infection in themselves. But the symptoms never appeared. And only on April 12th, after a closed meeting, the chief infectious disease specialist of the USSR, Vladimir Nikiforov, together with the chief state sanitary doctor, Peter Burgasov, announced the diagnosis was confirmed. It was indeed anthrax. However, the official cause of the tragedy was declared to be harmless, contaminated animal meat. Although official sources did not provide detailed explanations, some pathologists of that time began to doubt the proposed version of events, but did not dare to openly voice their objections. Among many medical professionals, the belief remained widespread that the infection had occurred through airborne transmission, not as a result of consuming contaminated products. Nevertheless, the version about infected meat remained the official explanation for a long time. It was only in May 1992 that the situation began to become clearer. At that time, Boris Yeltsin, in a conversation with journalists, mentioned that the official report during the anthrax outbreak initially stated that the infection was caused by an animal that supposedly brought in the disease. Later, it became known that the Soviet special services had, after all, acknowledged the real cause. It was related to military biological experiments. However, even then, the details were not disclosed. In 2006, the official version finally collapsed when Petro Burgasov publicly admitted its falsehood. He noted that with proper heat treatment, the anthrax pathogen is destroyed, and therefore the meat version did not hold up to scrutiny. According to him, at the time he was forced to assure Yeltsin that the infection had occurred through meat, although he himself had doubts. In the same interview, Burgasov confirmed that despite the ratification of the International Convention on the Prohibition of the Development of Bacteriological Weapons, the Soviet Union continued to develop them. This involved strains of anthrax, pneumonic plague, smallpox, and botulinum toxin. All of this, according to him, was allegedly developed for the purpose of creating effective vaccines. The reasoning was based on the idea that protection against a potential threat is impossible without thoroughly studying it, including through testing.